Hello and welcome to Joellen's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making a Pennsylvania Dutch dish that, well, it's a little different. It's called funny cake. We did something similar before, but with another main ingredient, and that was molasses. This time we're going to make a cocoa mix so we have a good rich chocolate, and I do use the dark chocolate cocoa. You may remember that from another post. I have Hershey's dark chocolate cocoa, and I'm going to put a half a cup of that into a saucepan. And in addition, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of water, and then a total of 1 cup of sugar. And as you know, with Pennsylvania Dutch, usually it's 1/2 white and 1/2 brown sugar. So I'm going to put that into my mixture, and we're going to be making a chocolate sauce. And all we have to add yet is a teaspoon of vanilla, and then we're going to stir it up, and we're going to put it on the stove. We're going to get it where it's almost going to boil, but we're not going to let it boil. We're just going to have this really rich chocolate sauce. And once we have it to that point that it's good and hot, the sugar should be melted, and we can just set it aside until we're ready for it. So let's go over to the stove, start it up, and get this cooking. And while that's heating up, we're going to prepare a pie crust, actually 2 deep dish pie crusts. And I always like to butter my pie plate because that makes the dough not stick, number 1. But number 2, it helps to give it a little bit more flakiness, and it's just melt in your mouth good. And of course, I like to use the Pillsbury Ready Made Mixed Pie Crust. They're just so convenient, and they're very good. So we're going to roll this out, place it into our pie plate, make sure it's down in there, and we're going to flute the edges. I just take my 2 fingers and push the dough together, and I'm sure there's fancier ways of fluting, but that's my way and it works. So whatever way works for you, go for it. There we go, 1 fluted pie crust. And we also need a fork, and we're going to prick the bottom and the sides so that it doesn't get big air pockets and bubble up on us. And we're going to set the pie crust aside. Again, you want 2 like that in a deep dish, or 3 in a regular dish. Now we're going to make the batter. And for that we need 2 1/2 cups of flour, which I already pre-measured. And this time we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar, again half brown and half white. We're going to add 1 cup of milk. We're going to add half of a stick of butter, which is 1/2 cup of butter. We're going to add 2 eggs. Two teaspoons of baking powder. We're adding 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It's good and hot, and chocolatey and all ready to sit aside. I have a hot pad here I'm going to set it on. Now we're going to work on mixing our batter. Okay, at this point we're going to pour our batter into our pie dough. One half into each of our pie crusts. Okay, here's the last step before we bake it. We're going to pour 1/2 of the chocolate sauce on top of each of our pies, or cakes actually. And with Hershey's chocolate, you know, of course, it's going to taste really good. Get them as equal as you can. And we're going to put it into the oven and bake it for half an hour on 350. What's going to happen is this chocolate is going to make a gooey sauce on the bottom, and the batter is going to rise to the top and puff up and get done. So we're going to bake it for a half an hour or until done at 350 degrees. Let's get it in the oven. We're going to wait for the Hershey's magic to happen. We're going to have an ooey, dewy chocolate sauce on the bottom of this cake. Can't wait.